We'll discuss how to build a strong brand that attracts clients and contracting opportunities. We'll review proven digital marketing strategies to increase visibility and engagement. And we'll focus mostly on digital strategies like social media, content marketing, and storytelling for business growth. On this channel, you're also going to learn a lot about MWBE procurement and supplier diversity. I'll provide step-by-step guides on MWBE certifications and the application process. I'll review how to navigate supplier diversity programs and unlock contracting opportunities. And I'll also provide insider tips for winning government and corporate contracts. My goal is to give you the tools, strategies, and confidence to grow your business. Let's make it happen together. I can't wait to go on this journey with you, so let's get started. Hi, this is Angelina, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about MWBEs. Specifically, I'm going to provide you with an overview on the different types, both public and private sector certifications. So before we dive into the different types, I want to first talk a little bit about the definition of MWBE. MWBE is actually an acronym, and it stands for Minority and Women Business Enterprises. But to be honest with you, it's not accurate. And the reason why I say that is because when we look at these types of certifications today, they go way beyond just for women and just for minorities. There are certifications for those that are disabled, for those that are veterans, as well as for those that are part of the LGBTQAI+ community. So when we talk about MWBEs and those types of certifications, understand that there's a broad definition when it comes to the people that are impacted by these certifications, right? The protected groups that can apply to them. But what are certifications? What are these MWBE certifications? Well, they provide the opportunity to level the playing field. These certifications give access to groups that historically have not had opportunities to contract with government and with private sector, the opportunity to do so. The purpose of certifications is essentially access. Now, when we talk about the different types of certifications, there are two main types. Most people, to be honest with you, are familiar with what we call public sector certification or government certification. But there's also this whole world of private sector certification, those that work for companies that want to do business with corporate America. First things first, let's talk a little bit about government sector or private sector certifications. We start off with the federal government. So you can get certified with the U.S. federal government as a woman-owned business, as a diverse business, or as a veteran-owned business. Then we go to the state level, and practically every state has their own certification program. Whether it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Illinois, or Florida, to name a few, all these states have their own certification application and their own certification program so that people can contract with government. Then we go to the city level. And whether it's New York City, the city of Chicago, the city of Miami, or the city of Houston, to name a few, these jurisdictions have their own certification program, again, allowing people from certain protected groups to be able to contract with them. Now we'll talk about county certifications. And whether we're in New York and talking about Nassau, Suffolk, or Westchester County, or we're in Florida talking about Miami-Dade, or whether we're in Illinois talking about Cook County, there are many counties throughout the United States that have their own MWBE certification, again, allowing these protected groups to be able to contract with them. And finally, we have agencies. Here in New York, we have something called the New York, New Jersey Port Authority. And that agency, once you get certified with them, will provide you with access to get contracts with our airports, specifically JFK and LaGuardia. In the United States, there are over 150 certifications when it comes to government. And so part of what we'll talk about in these courses is the strategy on which ones you should utilize based on your business, based on your industry, and a whole host of other inputs. The other type of certification is corporate America private sector certifications. And in this world, there are primarily 5. One for those that are minority, one for those that are for women, one for the disabled, one for veterans, and one for LGBTQAI+ community. So we're going to go more in depth in future presentations talking about each one of these certifying nonprofits, how they work, and who truly is eligible. But overall, when we talk about certifications, those are the 2 buckets: private sector and public sector. Now, a little bit more detail when we talk about public sector certifications. With government, they have something called set-asides. And what that means is that they allocate a certain percentage of contracts to businesses that are certified. Here in New York, right, where I'm from, we have certifications with New York State, with New York City, with different counties and different agencies, and they all have a 30% set-aside, which means that procurement contracts that exist, 30% of them need to be spent with MWBEs. Now, other jurisdictions, cities, state, counties, agencies, etc., don't necessarily have a hard set-aside like New York. They might have soft goals or even aspirational goals. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to government procurement, they do focus on hiring minority and woman-owned businesses to help level the playing field. Now let's talk about corporate sector or private sector certifications. They work very differently from government sector in that there are no set-asides, right? They don't have particular goals based on legal or based on requirement. They do it because they want to, because it's part of their corporate social responsibility, or because they want to do it for PR. With the corporate sector, it's important for you to understand that there aren't requirements. They do it because they want to, not because they have to. Now, what are the benefits of certifications? Well, there are a lot. Number 1, as I've been stating, you have access to contracts. By being certified, that puts you in a pool of people, a pool of firms and companies that have access to those government as well as corporate contracts. But you also have access to financing. When it comes to government as well as corporate, the amount of time that it could take from when you submit an invoice and you get paid potentially could be 30, 60, even north of 90 days. So because of that, financial institutions have products specifically for certified businesses to help with cash flow. And so that's something that is very useful for MWBEs. That might be these instruments, these financial instruments may be 0 interest or low interest, and there are also grants for MWBEs. So from a financial standpoint, there are a lot of benefits to getting certified. Also, there are networking opportunities when you're certified. So you have the opportunity to get on virtual or in-person expos and meetings. You could get trainings, especially when it comes to specific agency trainings like New York City, the Department of Small Business Services. They have plenty of training for those certified businesses or for those that aspire to be certified. And so those are great opportunities to learn about certifications, learn about contracting, but also to meet others. So from a marketing standpoint, you have a lot of opportunities. Whether you're putting it on your website or on your social media, or even during your elevator pitch, it's an opportunity for you to showcase the fact that you're certified, and that'll open doors to contracting opportunities. So what are the requirements for certifications? Now, understand that what I'm going to review right now are general requirements. Every certification is completely different. And like I said before, there are over 150 of them. They have different requirements when it comes to documentation, when it comes to the application process, the questions they ask, completely different. That being said, there are, I would say, low-hanging requirements overall. Number 1, you must be a for-profit entity. You'd be surprised how many times nonprofits ask me if they can get certified, and unfortunately, they cannot. You have to be a for-profit company. Number 2, the owner or owners of the company must be a citizen or a permanent resident of the U.S. Number 3, at least 51% of the company needs to be owned, operated, and controlled by a member of the protected group. And as I stated before, the protected groups are minority, women, veterans, the disabled, and LGBTQAI+. The company needs to have been registered or in existence for at least a year, and it has to be active. What do I mean by that? That means that you will have had some invoices or contracts to show that your business has been doing business, so to speak. So again, these are general requirements, kind of the first step to determine if you're even eligible, but each certification has additional requirements. Now, when it comes to planning your certification strategy, there's some things to consider. Because again, when I work with my clients, I never recommend that they get all certifications that they may be eligible to get. You should really take a step back and think about what makes sense for you. The first thing is what industry you're in and who that makes sense to. I always give this example of a chocolate shop here in New York City, a high-end chocolate shop actually in Queens, New York. And they got certified with the state of New York. And they came to me and said, I've been having some issues getting contracts. And so I said, let's ask the question. How much chocolate do you think the state of New York is in the business of buying? When it comes to state and procurement, and you think about some of the things that they spend money on, it's a lot of infrastructure, a lot of construction. For the Department of Education, they buy books or professional development. For hospitals, they buy materials and medicine. For the Department of Corrections, they buy food. So as you could see, when it comes to the industry, chocolate really isn't in that world. That being said, when you think of private sector corporate America, chocolate is actually quite viable. When I worked at American Express and I'd go to the cafeteria, right, or servery for lunch, guess what they would sell there? Chocolate. During the 3 p.m. slump, when everyone needs a little pick-me-up, we would go to the company store. You know what they would sell there? Chocolate. When American Express would want to develop collateral or materials to give to its consumers, you know what they would do? They would give branded chocolates. And the list goes on and on. So that's a perfect example of understanding the industry that you are in and what certification makes sense for you. The second thing for you to consider is geography, right? If you are a local restaurant that wants to do catering, or if you're in facilities management and you want to clean offices, then that means that you should focus on certifications that pertain to your local jurisdiction or your city. So again, if you're in New York City and you clean offices or you have a local restaurant, then you should get certified with New York City. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't other certifications that might make sense. Yes, there are plenty of corporate offices in New York City, and there's an opportunity for you to be able to garner that business if you're cleaning offices or if you want catering. But again, it's important for you to look at all the different criteria to determine which strategy makes sense most for you. Another thing you should consider is the size and scope of your business. If you're a small business, especially if you're a solopreneur, then you'll only really be able to get access to contracts that are small in nature, not only in deliverables, but even in the revenue, right, or the budget of the project. So that's another thing to take into consideration. So when it comes to planning your certification strategy, it's important for you to take into account your industry, your geography, and your size, and that will definitely provide you with a roadmap of success when it comes to what certifications you should get. So I hope you found today's presentation helpful. Again, it provided you with an overview of the different types of certifications, public and private sector. We went in depth on the requirements of those certifications, and we even reviewed the strategy to determine which ones make the most sense for you. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and drop a comment with recommendations for other topics you'd like me to cover. And don't forget to like and share. Thanks very much, and see you in the next video.